All right, guys, so welcome back. We are here today for another video, and the title of this message is Don't Be Deceived. And this is actually a part two regarding the deception that the enemy warrants through the use of drugs. So part one was referencing alcohol and the different spirits and the attacks that the enemy uses through the spirits that consume you through the use of and consumption of alcohol. And so we'll dive right in. So many times we fail to see the true enemy behind the spirits which we fall victims of, and this comes by way of deception. The enemy definitely wears many disguises, and one of those disguises comes closely with the lies that he flips to make something that's harmful to you seem like it's going to provide or warrant something that's going to be productive, something that's beneficial, something that's going to produce a fruitful harvest instead of being a catastrophic scenario. And so we know that this is deception. And so you should always test the spirit. We know scripturally speaking that this is something that we're instructed to do anyway. So be mindful and make sure that you're testing the spirit, because if you're not testing the spirit, then you can't possibly discern to see if whatever you're consuming or partaking in is producing viable fruit. And so I just want to remind you that you testing the spirit is going to allow you to see, what does this spirit produce during the harvest? Is it going to be rotten fruit? Is it going to be good fruit? Is it full of nutrients? Because we know that nutritionally speaking, even from a physical standpoint, the nutrients in which you consume affect how you function physically, mentally, emotionally, your overall health. And so we know health is a component, like I specified in one of the previous videos. It is your ability to be able to maintain wellness within your spirit and your physical. And so now we're spiritually speaking. And so what type of fruit or nutrients are you supplying? Bad apples come from bad trees. It's as simple as that. Bad trees are not coming from, are not formulating good fruit. Good trees don't bear bad fruit, and vice versa. Good fruit or apples don't come from bad trees. They come from good trees. So just as bad company corrupts good character. Guys, I know you've heard that before, and it's so evidential, it's so factual, it's all throughout scripture as to how someone thought they were bigger and better, but you start to keep this company, and now it's corrupted your character. When you've been targeted to be attacked by the enemy to use drugs, it's usually through seeking one of the fleshly sins. And this is where you have to be mindful of you not being bigger than what the enemy has deceived you into believing that you need, or that it's a benefit associated with a sinful activity. He attacks you through your emotional sense, your emotional high. You're desiring to be emotionally high. You want to feel like you're on top of the world, or you're high, or you just want to be happy. And so you turn to drugs. So the deception is you're going to be okay emotionally. Physical pleasures. You want to feel like something. So a lot of times people that get hooked on steroids and things like that, that's a drug. It's because you want to receive that excess. Something that is goes outside of the norms. And then power and vanity. Those are self-explanatory. People do these things because they feel more powerful. They want to feel more powerful. They want to look a certain way. So now you're just going along with the flow of the crowd because you're in bad company, and now you're corrupting your good character based off of the desires of the flesh that you were trying to satisfy. You want to feel something, and the enemy's tool of deception lies and tells you that you can have full access to this and more and remain in control. This is a huge contradiction, guys. A huge contradiction. If you require a drug or substance which are closely related, then you're not within the range of fully functioning in a self-controlled manner. I'm going to say that again. If you require a drug or substance which are closely related, then you are not within the range of fully functioning in a self-controlled manner. When you allow the gateway drug, which is what most of them are warranted as, because they open other gateways. You start one and then you end up on another, or you end up on a combination of alcohol and drugs and sex and all of this different stuff that you're now under full, complete operation of the enemy. So when you do these gateway drugs, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. Hence the name, gateway. It's called a gateway drug for a reason. The enemy knows, but he also knows the ignorance of those that are supposed to be serving the kingdom, because you don't educate yourselves, because you go by what he shows you, because you don't test the spirits, because of all of these things. You've been invited. You've been invited, and then you invited him in because you didn't test the spirit. And now he feeds on your health, your mental, your appearance, your physical, and he attacks your character. Your judgments are not sound, and then he affects your livelihood. I went through a scenario of how all the ways that you morph when you're under the use of alcohol, and it's similar. Your appearance changes, your relationships change. You have all of these different characteristic traits that are now not reflective of the Most High, and you being filled with the Spirit of light. The Holy Spirit can't rest if you're not open to allowing a atmosphere for him to be able to be productive in. Darkness and light don't coexist, guys. He doesn't play fair. He leaves craters, big craters in your life. He derails things. He derails your reputation. He derails your relationships. He derails your ability to function without the thing that he told you that you weren't going to have to be dependent upon. So you think of the prominent figures who've lost it all due to a lack of self-control, under the spirit of addiction, using drugs and alcohol. It clouds the ability to get proper rest, proper nutrition, to prioritize prayer and worship, which are the things that you're supposed to be filling up on. All of these things of our Father in heaven, the assignments and a stewardship of all that he's given you well, and for you to steward well over. You're expected to steward well, and you will give an account, whether that be during this lifetime or after, or both. It's more than likely a combination of both, guys. While some people do come back around, you're still going to have to give that account. Common deceptions, common deceptions that he's using to kill these young people are just coming out of the woodworks, guys. You now have vaping. People are now just vaping, not into nothing, putting millions of chemicals in their body. You literally, when you inhale off of one vape, it changes the structure of your lungs in a way that cannot be rectified. And yes, you may not see these things immediately, but then soon you start to have these symptoms, and you're coughing up blood, you're doing all of these things. And it's just as addictive as the regular street drugs. It's no different. It's just legal. That's the deception. Oh, it's legal, so it must be okay for me to do it. Caffeine, same thing. All of these energy drinks and things like that, it works on your heart. It's the same thing that I was sharing in the video about the alcohol. It works on your heart. All of the major organs and things that you need to supply your body to be healthy, to be able to be functional with a holy temple as a living sacrifice, are affected. Caffeine, it causes your heart to break down. It's similar to the chain smoker and the lungs. Caffeine wears on your heart like that. Opioids, cocaine, heroin, stimulants, steroids. All of these athletes are turning to steroids, and it's not because they weren't enticed. It's not because they weren't deceived. Of course, they thought they were going to be able to take it once, and now we're here, and I won the competition, no more. No, you sit here and you get disgraced because you win the competition, and now all of a sudden there's drug testing, and now you've tested positive. Your whole reputation, all of those years of work and dedication have now gone down the drain. You're no longer recorded into the history books. You have an asterisk beside your name. And for those of you that don't know what that means, it means that person that they won, but they also were tested to have steroids or some type of performance enhancer in their systems. So we know that the methods that he's using is through fentanyl, through crack cocaine. Now I misspelled that, but it's okay. E on the end. Fentanyl, crack cocaine, methadone, crystal meth, methamphetamines. They're used to treat ADHD. But drugs that are used. It's all of these different things. Crystal meth is the top tier when it comes to the likelihood of you overcoming this addiction, and all your effort and all your cognitive behaviors, your health, your mental, your appearance, everything just kind of goes down the drain. So, let this be a warning to you guys. Let this be a warning. And, you as parents, we have to take more precedence of ensuring our children are not falling victim, because they're not at a capacity where they are actually able to reflect and make decisions solely and properly a lot of the times, and we give them too much leeway. Cover your children in prayer. Have the conversations. Do the phone searches. Do the room sweeps. Do the car checks. All of these things, because if you can get to it before it gets too deep or too far gone, guys, the more likelihood you are able to intervene with prayer, with the support system that they need to be able to overcome these deceptive practices and now the addiction that your child may be suffering, or a loved one. It's not just about your kids, but I'm led right now in this moment to talk about kids, because this is where it hits. So don't be deceived, guys. Don't be deceived by the drugs. Don't be deceived by the many different tactics that he gives you by supplying you a quick solution. A quick solution is never the best option, ever. It always comes with something. Now it's just like, okay, now I'm just thinking about how title loans work. It's a quick temporary fix for you to sell something that you fully paid off, for you to have temporary cash and now be charged 300% interest rate. It's unwarranted. A quick fix is rarely something that's going to be beneficial in the long run. And so don't be deceived, guys. Like I said, I recorded a part 1 of this, and it is basically talking about all of the scriptural practices and principles that surround alcohol addiction and drug use. So they are, very, very closely related. If you haven't taken the time to go and watch that segment, that post in particular. And also, I wish you nothing but the best of success. I've prayed for you if you've made it to this channel. And I like I said, I pray that you have nothing but the best of success in all you do, and overcoming all of these different deceptive practices that may be encompassing your life right now, that may be surrounding you or trying to separate you from our Father in heaven. And all of these things, I just, I ask you to consider that and pray for yourselves. Cover your house, cover your children, cover all of these areas, and don't fall victim, guys. Test the spirit. See if it's producing a mighty harvest. And if it's not, flee from it. Flee from it. I promise you will not regret it. You will not regret it, calling out to him for help and discerning that spirit and walking away. I don't care how good it looks. And so that's all I have for you. As always, you can visit the link in my bio and reach out to me utilizing the contact us portion of that homepage. And if you are led to sow into or donate to this ministry work that I do here, or any of the services that I actually offer through the platforms which I've been given to steward well over, then please utilize that donate button at the end of that page as well. I look forward to our next video. And as always, thank you again for taking the time to even listen to this message. Thank you.